I think so many people are keyboard activists, right? Everybody's good at sending a tweet about how the world should be and nobody's doing anything about it. And that is just very much human nature.
I was just gonna ask if you think that's human nature or if you think that we've gotten soft as a culture.
Yes. Of course we've gotten soft as a culture in the US because the US has had an incredible 200-year run, right? Like this is just what happens. So as a culture, I can't speak for, people that live in the Amazon River, and I can't speak for, people that still live in Belarus, but the American culture is soft, and that's a great thing. That means there's been enormous amounts of prosperity, but let's not be naive. People literally complain when somebody gives them the wrong amount of extra cream in a Starbucks $6 coffee. My lack of interest in complaining is so high, and when I watch what people complain about, it breaks my heart because they completely lack perspective. And I genuinely believe my happiness and optimism comes from my perspective. Even in political unrest times like right now, a lot of people are very bent out of shape, but the reality is that it's just never been better to be a human being. That's just the truth, that's just data, that's reality. And it's just a very fun time to be alive. So much going on. The internet is starting to hit maturity. Look what we're doing right now. This right now, right, would have cost millions of dollars in production and distribution to have the amount of people who watch this just 15 years ago. I just think it's very interesting times. And I was saying something to a friend the other day. I was like, could you imagine if you told a parent 15 years ago, hey parent, what you're gonna wanna do in 15 years, instead of buying a kid, your 16-year-old, a car, you're gonna convince your 16-year-old daughter to go into a stranger's car every single day. You're gonna pay for your 16-year-old daughter to go into a stranger's car every single day, and you will think that's normal and actually safer than buying that kid a car. That's literally what we're living in now. High net worth individuals in America are preferring to give their kids unlimited Uber to buying a car because they don't want them drinking and driving, they don't trust their driving, and literally they think it's safer for their 16, 17-year-old to go into a stranger's car than to drive themselves. That's sacrilege 15 years ago. Online dating 20 years ago. The weirdest, nerdiest, you're thinking 300-pound white dude in the basement of a kid's car, now it's just completely standard. If you add in sliding into people's DM on Instagram, it's like 89% of relationships, right? So, I think that we are, I think we're going through a huge transition because all of us, even thought leaders, are grossly underestimating the internet itself, and we're hitting scale, right? We now all are on at all times, and this is now the beginning. I was joking while I was working out this morning to D-Rock. I'm like, D-Rock, you're gonna get replaced by a Pokemon ball. I'm gonna throw it up. People in 20 years are literally gonna throw something up and just gonna hover 360 and film everything they're doing. It's just an incredible time. And I think the way people look at the world right now, because it's such an incredible time, is actually the quickest tell to who they are. If you think it sucks or it's bad, you have losing, pessimistic DNA. And if you think it's awesome and phenomenal, you have optimistic, winning DNA. And I believe that to be true. And so that's where we're at. We're beating ourselves up. Everybody sucks at something, right? We all have shortcomings and we all have strengths. And for me, it's why don't we just audit that? Why don't we just look at it that way and be all right, well, I'm good at this, but I'm not good at that. And then I only focus what I'm good at, right? I don't dwell that I can't fix shit around the house. I call somebody to fix it. I'm not a man, I don't give a fuck. I don't get it. We all, I also think it's awesome that I'm so emotionally stable and I'm the emotional backbone of everybody. Is that what a dude's supposed to do? These cliches, these stereotypes, they're so silly. I'm fully in love with myself. But I'm also fully in love with everybody else too, right? It's not it goes both ways. I tell people to buy into me, that work for me, it's because I buy into them first. I don't need anybody to gain trust with me. It's there. I believe that the human race is so grossly underrated. We are good. Of course we have some bad. There's fucking 7 billion of us. But when you look at our net score, it's bonkers shit. Do you know how much damage we could be doing to each other on a hourly basis and we don't, like we're still here. Like we won. We're the alpha being and we've figured out how to stay together. This is insane when you think about it. And yet everybody wants to dwell on like somebody said something mean. You're gonna only be so pretty, you're only gonna be so smart, there's things that are gonna be natural and then there's things that you can actually control. I do believe, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong, I don't, but I do believe that work ethic is a taught behavior. It's something you do have more control over. And yeah, I think, and you know what really sealed the deal for me? Getting healthier. I was 38 years old and it didn't come natural to me. Like it didn't come natural to me at all. I hate the gym. I hate it now. I hate it, I don't like it, I don't want to do it. But I knew it was important. And somewhere around midway through being 38 years old, I got serious, I figured out my system, I made the financial commitment, and I've won, right? And I'll never lose again because the system was I needed to be accountable to another human being. So it was about Mike and now Jordan and whoever else is my trainer. I'm doing it almost weirdly more to not let them down than to, and so that was this shift. And so I feel like there's a shift that can make people work harder. The big one that I push is you're gonna die. Like if you're like to me, life is broken down into complaining and not. So if you're not complaining, well then I have no advice for you. I'm pumped. Like you did it. Like I have friends who make $42,000 a year, work 9 to 4, kind of, with an hour and a half lunch and 45 minutes of YouTube and 10 minutes of bullshitting and an hour of complete wasted time in a meeting. So they're kind of working like 6, hours a week, right? But they're pumped. And they text me, these are high school friends, and they'll text me like how happy they are to be the coach of their kids' baseball team. And like that's amazing. Like that seems very obvious to me. That's right. What's super weird? I'm actually weirdly envious. It sounds cool, like in theory, right? Grass is always greener, right? Like far less pressure, like all that time with my kids, oof, that would be cool. Like there's just like all these things that I can justify. So to me, but I have friends who have $100 million in the bank because of Facebook's IPO, who complain, who are still hungry, who want to do even more, who will complain to me because they know I work a lot about no work-life balance and they don't get to spend enough time with their family. And I'm like, you have $100 million. Like you could stay home. Like you're in control. Like don't complain about it. You've made that choice. Don't bullshit me. Like you want to spend more time with your family? Spend more time with your family. I'm trying to be very careful about what I'm saying versus what I'm doing because that's how you get exposed. And I don't mean like people calling you out and being like, you suck. I mean to yourself. I don't want to be exposed by myself. It's looking yourself in the mirror and saying like, am I doing this right? So to me, there's so many people that are talking shit about how big of an entrepreneur they're gonna be and how much they're gonna achieve, and they don't work on weekends. I worked every Saturday of my 20s. And I talk to 20-year-old entrepreneurs every single day. Lately, I've been saying to them, this Saturday, you're gonna have more time off than I've had in my entire 20s on a Saturday. So before you tell me how you're gonna be bigger than me, start thinking about what you're actually doing.
Right.